we go. Today with us, as I just explained, we have Dr. Deanna Mutzel with us, and she is someone who I am so glad that came into my life recently. And I'll tell you why. She's like no one else that I've worked with in this space. So you guys are in for a real treat today because Dr. Deanna is special. And I know that sounds like, it's kind of hard to take when you come on and someone's like talking about you like that, but I adore you. And there's reasons beyond just the physical care. There's something unique and special. And so welcome to the Badass Reset Club. Glad you're here.
Thank you so much, Heather, for having me on. It's such an honor.
I'm so glad you're here. And I want to share, like I explained in the bio, what you do, but what you do is unique and different. And I don't know if you see this. I'm sure that you are hoping for it. But what you do is way beyond chiropractic care. It's this holistic, beautiful, yummy care that like we're missing out on. And you and I have talked about this and my secret dreams about how we can bring more to people. But can you explain to us, like, what was the vision when you started working in the space that you're in? So maybe it was different when you originally became a chiropractor.
Yes.
Maybe. But the space that you're in right now and the care that you give, and I'm going to explain more to our listeners of what it's all about, but what got you to that of wanting to give that whole different perspective?
Right. So I would say, first and foremost, I've been practicing for 23 years. It makes me feel really old to say that, but it's been 23 years. And I have changed, Heather, in so many ways with how I practice and evolved into what you have witnessed today. And, when I first was thinking about the question, or many people ask me, how are you different from other chiropractors and providers in general? The best answer to that would be, well, maybe ask somebody who has seen another chiropractor and then they've come to see me and experienced what I do. It's definitely harder to explain. There is, like you said, so much more than just chiropractic with what I do. But I would say my mission and my goal daily with my patients is to make people feel very connected, very loved, like they're being heard when they walk into my door, the inexperience when they leave, not just with actual chiropractic adjusting, but honestly, just as soon as they walk into my office, I want them to feel safe, especially if they're a new patient with me. They walk in, it's dim, there's salt lamps. I practice what I preach. It's all about lifestyle. It's not just about chiropractic, it's healing as a whole, very integrative. So back in the day, I kind of went ahead of myself there, but when I first started chiropractic right out of school, I was more quickie fixie, which there's a time and place for that. And then I felt like I was just missing something. Like there was a void. I felt like I loved what I did, but something was missing. I wasn't expressing my true personality, and I wasn't serving as best as I could with my most authentic self, although I have changed a lot since I was 25.
For sure.
So, and I'm 48 now. So as I have changed and evolved as a person, and I've learned, and I have a growth mindset and become more about the growth mindset, I've applied it to my practice. I've made my treatment sessions longer. From like the original 5-minute adjustment went to 30, and now it's 40, because I found I really need that time to connect with my patients. And with the patients that I do connect with, the way that I see it is that they're like family to me, extended family. I take it very seriously. Treatment just doesn't stop when you enter my room and leave. I continue to reach out to my patients who want me to reach out to them. You have to get to know your patients to know their boundaries. But for example, I love to listen to podcasts, for example, and I will send certain patients podcasts that I listen to. I want them to feel like I'm involved in their life. And I feel like it makes them feel that they have support, that, they may come in with pain, but sometimes it's not always about the pain. Sometimes they're feeling pain because of emotional issues, right? So I have to really kind of get to know my patients as a whole, which I've learned over the last 23 years, better how to do that. And I'm still learning. I learn so much from my patients.
Yeah.
And so, I just create that environment of safety, of connection, of experience, of warmth, of
Uh-huh.
competence,
Yeah.
I love to spoil my patients. I love when they feel like it was the best 40 minutes of their day.
Okay, I'm gonna jump right in there because it
Just
is.
jump right
And
in.
so like the thing when I first came to you, and I haven't been with you all that long, but I just adored you from the get-go. When I first came into you, I think there might have been like open arms, like, come on in here, girl, like big love. Yep. And I'm all for that. And then
Yeah.
it was way more. And it's not just about what is bothering you physically. Like, oh my gosh, I felt, and you're right, like all the words that you're using, I felt like warmth and safety and just being cared for, like wrapping me up and giving me the love. And then the products that you use, then they're your products. We'll talk about that too. But it is like an experience of kind of the spa meets a little bit of therapy meets like love, and then you get the chiropractic care in there, and it's like nothing I've ever, every experience I've had is probably similar to most people's. And this is no fault to the chiropractors because, time is limited and, they're running their business too. But you have like 10 minutes to go in, get adjusted, and you're out and you're back in the car in 2 seconds flat, what it feels like. And you don't even know really what happened or how to like extend that care. So
Right.
this is certainly different. And I see this as where we need to go. Like I see this as more of a holistic wellness of what people need. It's not just about getting adjustments.
I 100% agree with you. And we've lost the art as providers, as, uh, you know, I always think back, like as I have my mission and I constantly think about my mission every day before I go into the office. I think about my first experience with a chiropractor. It could have been any provider, but it was a chiropractor. And I'm from a very small village in Canada. You'll probably hear the about once in a while, and or the A.
Yeah.
So, but short of the long story is, Heather, that when I would go in, he was so personable. And not only was he the village chiropractor, he was also like, he did other things in the community. We would see him everywhere. And he was also a family friend. He would come over for dinner. It was just the norm. And I have such good memories of that. I knew his family. I knew his kids. I went to school with his kids. And so I remembered, it just made me feel safe. And I always wanted to be that provider. I wanted to bring back that art of the small village, provider.
Yeah.
And
what a mentor. Like,
yeah,
even if you
I
didn't
really
know
do.
that he was mentoring you, what an
Yeah,
impression,
he
right?
was. You would only known, but it was definitely something that kind of holds true to me. And I feel like I don't know about you, but when you go into the hospital or when you go in for an exam or whatnot, it's so objective. It's so cold. And you don't even know if the doctor that you're talking to truly cares or if they're thinking about what they're going to have for dinner. And, it's human. It's human. We all have those moments for sure. But I have literally, knowing this, that we all have a stimulus and we all have a certain energy in our day. And as providers do too, they're not like superheroes, right? Like we all get tired. Knowing that, I really try to perfect my own schedule in the office with time blocks, with morning routines, with nighttime routines, with my sleep schedule. I really try to practice what I preach and walk the talk, because if I'm not truly my best, I can't serve people 100%.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And we've talked about that a little bit too. I want to bring that up because I love what you shared with me, and we'll share it with our other lady listeners trying to hit their badass reset. There's things that need to take place. And as women, what we've talked about is we sometimes feel these, guilt and shame are in and around taking care of ourselves. So walk us through a little bit of your day, because you are a stickler to your practice, but there's a reason that you're so, dedicated to it. of that self-care because it's what you need. Like, walk us through a little bit about how you approach your day with your outlook on what needs to take place, like from the get-go of waking up.
Okay, from the get-go of waking up. So I'm a big routine person,
Mhm.
non-negotiable. And, sometimes that can be difficult for me because I'm so routine oriented from Monday to Friday. I have to remember that on weekends with my family, I have to kind of tone that down a bit and become more balanced. And I'll get into that in a bit because it's hard to take off that professional hat and with the balance that we had talked about.
Mhm.
So I wake up, I have a red light therapy. The reason that I turn that on is to bring down cortisol.
Mhm.
Okay. So while that red light therapy is on, I'm naturally drinking coffee because that's what we do in the Pacific Northwest.
Oh, quite a
And
bit.
sometimes two. And I am journaling. I have my journal out. I go as far as to set these things out the night before so that they're
Mhm.
ready to go. And I just know me. That's why I do that, because I know me. If things are there and set and prepared, I am more willing to, it's going to happen. Right. And
Sure.
that's like all aspects of your life when it comes to like your workouts, nutrition, as you know, I'm sure you go through this with your clients. Preparation is key for everything,
Mhm.
right? So I journal, I go through affirmations, I go through my short-term goals, sometimes long-term goals, and a lot of it can look the same. It's literally like a notepad like this, okay? And I carry one around with me all the time. It can be a little neurotic, but it works for me.
Uh-huh.
And sometimes it'll be short periods of time in front of the Juve light. Sometimes it will be long periods of time,
Mhm.
longer periods of time, depending on what's going on in my life and what I have going on in the day. I will then
Mhm.
also do a quick scan of my day. I will look at my patient list. Generally, I'm smiling because I love all my patients and I know a lot of my patients. Gratefully, I'm pretty much referral based. So when I look at my schedule, I've seen many of the same faces before, and I get really excited because I know them so well. I know their dog's name. I know their kids. I
Love
know
it.
what's going on in their life. And they know a lot about me too. So there's just a good connection, right?
Mhm. Yep.
And I really feel like also choosing my patient, it's not always a good fit. Sometimes it doesn't work out. And that's okay. It's like a relationship, any relationship in general. Sometimes you connect with people, sometimes you don't. But as a provider, if I feel like I'm not able to connect with somebody on the first visit, it's I'll know and they'll know. But for those who do connect with me and get it and get
Mhm.
where I'm coming from and I get them, it becomes a beautiful relationship of
Mhm.
provider and patient. And not just provider and patient, but as friends. I see a lot of my patients as my friends and family, right? So anyway, back to my morning routine. I will then go outside. I will stick my feet in the grass to ground myself, and that's something new that I started doing, and
Uh-huh.
I love it. Very grounded. It could sound very hippie, but it works. And then I get that initial light into my pupils because apparently it's really good for starting hormones.
Mhm.
It's just that initial light is just good for your cortisol levels, so many different things. And I will
Circadian
do
rhythms. Yeah.
circadian
Yeah.
rhythms. I'm all
Mhm.
about circadian rhythms, and I
Mhm.
will go for either a light jog or a walk. Um, and the duration of that just depends on my day, how busy I am, and then I will go and prioritize lifting weights. So I
Mhm.
have a good, like, honestly, a good 90 minutes to myself in the morning, which is extremely important to me.
That's
Extremely
rare.
important to me.
It's rare too.
I just,
I'm a little
yeah,
bit jealous, but that's wonderful. But you've also structured your schedule that way. Like, I start with my
yes,
clients at 7 a.m., so I don't have a
right,
lot of time.
right.
But yeah,
Yeah,
I think it's wonderful that you can do that. And it's got to be that's just got to feel good. And for you, like you said, it's a non-negotiable. It's just what you do. And
but
it's
it's
what you
not always
need.
like that, Heather. It's what I need. And for example, today I did not have that time, but it never stresses me out because I make the time later.
Okay.
So on days where I know I'm not able to get that 90 initially,
Mhm.
and I educate my patients about this too, I schedule blocks in my day. And this was only as of 2 months ago. In longer days at the office, when I'm there for 9 hours or 8 hours back to back to back with patients, I schedule an hour.
Mhm.
And the reason I do that is so I can eat, I can mindfully, I can go for a walk to bring down the glucose, insulin
Mhm.
levels. I go outside for the sun, especially during this time of year, because in the winter, when you go in, it's dark, and when you leave work, it's dark. So I
Yep.
honor that. Like, I need that vitamin D, and so I'm recharged for my afternoon patients. And then at night, similar, just my nighttime routine is a lot of, I have a daughter, and we'll read together. We'll go for a walk after dinner. I try to eat early, and I try to get in bed by at least 9. I try, it doesn't always happen.
Sure.
I journal again, and that's my day.
I love it. With the time blocking, and I'll share this with listeners, the last time that I saw you, you told me it was a beautiful day. And I was really busy that day. And you told me that I really should take advantage of the sun and go, because Dr. Deanna works in Kirkland, Washington. And if you're familiar with downtown Kirkland, it's near the water. So on a beautiful sunny day, it's magical to go walk around there. But you told me to try and just get a short walk in if I could. And I did. And it like game changed my day.
Love it.
Yeah. Just gave me back energy and took away all the things that I needed to get done, with work and all those things. And so I was so thankful for that. But sometimes it's those reminders that you need to hear from other people.
We all do too.
Yeah.
Even coaches.
Of course. Because
yes.
sometimes you get a little off your game, and it's hard to prioritize your self-care. And self-care is it's not just taking a bath with Epsom salts. Self-care can be the walk. It can be getting the vitamin D. It can be just bringing down that blood sugar from, post-meal. All those things are really important. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. And thank you for the nudge. I really appreciate it.
Anytime.
Is there anything else, like we haven't even discussed? You were a former runner.
Yes.
Like big time runner. Is there anything else that you've learned, from your past, or things that you incorporate now to add into recovery? I know you're doing your red light.
Yes.
Is there, you're a cold plunger too, aren't you?
Oh gosh, I wish I could say yes. I used to,
okay,
but that's a whole nother thing we can get into at some other podcast. But yeah, it's once in a while I do, but just
is there something else that you do for recovery, for just trying to bring yourself back into the parasympathetic?
Sure. I would say breath work, walking. I have a little ADHD in me. So not, I just know this about myself. I'm very go, 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 go. So I have a hard time just sitting and, so I love to walk, and I love to listen to podcasts, and I love to learn. That's my relaxation is learning about all things. Right. And I nerd out on like a topic one week, and I'll be sending them to my patients or my family. And then I'll get on to another subject and dive in, because I'm constantly learning. I know.
I think we're soul sisters. I'm loving it. I do the same thing.
I love it.
Yeah.
So fun.
It's how many podcasts can you listen to? How many things can you learn? But sometimes it makes me feel a little squirrely, because then I have like my mind on so many different things that I want to go explore. And I'm like, whoa, girl.
Yeah.
Let's stay in a lane for a little while.
I hear you. Oh my goodness gracious. I have I feel like Rain Man sometimes, Heather. Like I have like note upon note upon note about things I'm learning. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I just got to focus. Right. So, but I get so excited.
I do too. But what a cool time that we're in, that we can do that so easily and still take care of ourselves. You started a product line, and I am a big girl fan of it. You started Glo Stixx. Let's talk about like, how did you even like know, because you're such a badass entrepreneur, like you've started all these things. How did you even like get that ball rolling, and what made you want to do it? And then I'm going to tell you what I love about it.
Okay. Oh, I love that you love it. So I have a big creative part of me. I love to create. I'm always going through ideas, and I don't always act out on the ideas that I have, but I'm not sure if you knew this about me. I'm not sure why you would know this about me, because I don't think we've ever talked about it, but I used to have a cookie company, and it was like a keto cookie company. It was super fun. I had it during a time that I wasn't in practice. Okay. And I was at home with my daughter, and it did very well. It just got to a point where I had to make a decision of whether to go all in, which was taking a lot of time away from my daughter. or to kind of back away, which I did. I just didn't know what I was getting into. So I always had this in the back of my mind that I wanted to create something again. Food industry is very difficult, especially after like the pandemic that we went through with supply chain issues and so forth. So I thought, you know what, new chapter in my life. I want to do something different during this time of thinking about what I wanted to create as more of a side hustle from chiropractic, just keep my brain engaged, just doing something different, right? Kind of a little artsy in me. So I use a lot of oils on my patients. So at the end of treatment sessions, as you know, I guess I've always wanted to be kind of slightly esthetician / chiropractic because I go in and I put oils around the face and I kind of massage a little bit. And I just really think the sense of smell is very powerful, right? So then I started creating my own organic blends. And I had so many people say, you know, you really got to sell this. You really got to sell this. And I thought, well, it's just more time. Like, I'm not sure. I really just do it for you. But then it just got to, I'm like, you know what? People really want this out there. And one thing led to another. And I just decided to create Glo Stixx. And I'm still working on it now. It's not quite launched out there yet. I just have it in the office. I'm still working on like little fine-tuned details, but it's been a super fun project for me. It's supporting local farmers and it's all organic.
Yep.
And so, yeah, and I feel like they're beautiful products, but really my goal with Glo Stixx, excuse me, was when people put it on, usually women, some men like it, I want them to feel like it's an act of self-love, where they feel like they're in the spa and it makes them smile. That little thing in the day that makes them smile when they put something on. It's like that feeling you get when you do go into a spa or a place that smells really good. Like smell brings back really good memories and it can take away a lot of stress and cortisol. So that was my whole mission with Glo Stixx, and it still is creating something that really makes people feel good while I'm supporting local farmers and able to express my creative side.
Yeah. So. That's so cool. And there it is again, like your patients giving you that nudge. I think we're just we so need to be connected for so many reasons. I use the Soar No More, and I use it, I keep it in my gym. And so with clients, like if they've got complaints of slept funny, you know, something feels wonky, I've used it on them, and I'll give them a little massage while I'm putting it in, you know, and just give them some attention, give them some love. And every single one of them is like, I want this. So we need to figure out how we're getting product to market, because now the demand's going up.
Coming soon. Just looking on
they
some
love
fine
it.
details. Thank you.
But I want to share what I love so much about the product too. And that is like the demographic of women I work with, mostly perimenopausal, menopausal, into postmenopausal. So we're talking 40s and up. And there is, as you know, there is such like this shift of hormones. So we've got estrogen tanking, you know, for our later gals, but we are exposed to so many things that produce, you know, those false estrogens in our environment. And so like anytime we can take a product that we're putting on our bodies and make it a cleaner, healthier product, the better. So like, I would love to get rid of all the shit that's out there and focus more on clean, healthy stuff.
So many women wear fragrance, for example.
I used to.
Honestly, I did too. And it is probably one of the top 3, if not number 1, things that can really mess up your hormones. Women out there, it's not worth it. So you can smell good with essential oils, and the fragrance thing is just not worth what it does to your hormones. So if you're experiencing things that you haven't in your 20s, whether they be like gut disturbance or like weight gain or just odd things that you're not used to, then get rid of the crap in your life, like plastics and fragrances and chemicals. And this is in your shampoo. It's in your makeup. It is everywhere. It's just everywhere. And we can go on and on with the list. And I don't want people to feel like neurotic about it, but it is kind of a priority. And you could be eating all the right foods and doing all of the workouts, but if you're not getting rid of these other external factors that could be causing havoc on your hormones, it's not going to do a thing, right?
Yeah.
And, it's just, again, you can get into detail about all these different things, even like how you eat, what you eat, how you eat, your lifestyle, how you handle your stress. It's all got to flow together, and
For sure.
It's work. So
Every day.
the best work and the best investment in your health, and the most priceless investment.
I agree. Yeah. Again, you're my soul sister. I think too, like my daughter's 24, and these are the things like the lotions that you'll go buy, and the stuff that you just, I mean, stuff that we did when we were younger that we just didn't know any better. We do know better now, and we can do better. And it doesn't mean that you need to go in immediately and get rid of everything, but like make baby steps,
Baby steps.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not like you're going to shift your whole fitness overnight or your nutrition overnight, like baby steps to getting healthier.
Sustainability, right?
For sure. And then adding in the other things that help you to feel good, like having those chiropractic appointments, like those things that we do just to stay in the right direction.
Yeah.
I think.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So like, yeah, you are so talented, and I adore you. If listeners that live in the Washington area, are you still taking new clients? Are you still?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yep. I'm pretty much referral based.
Okay.
And where to find me is I have a website, and I can provide you the link for that.
I'll put it all
I
in
am
the
on
show
it.
notes.
I'm not really active on social media for different reasons, just because I feel like I can stay more grounded. I love social media, but I'd like to kind of look through it once in a while, but I like to stay very focused and grounded and present. And that's just how I handle it. But I do have a link on there, and the odd time I'll put a post on there. So yeah, generally through online booking, or I'm very personable. So I have many people just text me because I am referral based, like, hey, Deanna, I heard about you through my friend, blah, blah, blah. And I love that. So I do everything on my own. I used to have the staff when I first started, but now I've chosen to kind of do everything on my own. So if you do try to reach out to me and I don't get back to you right away, just send me a text, and just know because I'm, I'll get to you.
That's wild. That's wild. And for those of you who are listening and you don't live anywhere near the state of Washington, look for those providers. Look for the providers that really do the functional, like everything, putting it all together. Because I think that's where we need to be going with our healthcare. And I think that it's important that you feel seen and heard and loved and taken care of.
And I also feel like Heather too. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go.
Oh, I was just going to say, like, something too is what I've realized. I work with a great group of providers because I know that I have limitations. And although I can make suggestions about, fitness and nutrition and lifestyle, my primary specialty is really chiropractic. And so, and I do love nutrition too, but in terms of like referring, I may say, hey, like try to aim for a certain number of steps a day or this and that, but I love to refer to people as yourself who can really dive in and be specific with my patients. And so I have a great network of providers to send my patients to. We all work together to, maximize the treatment and protocol for our patients. And it's a great system. So
wonderful. Yeah. Okay. My last question for you.
All right.
And then we'll let you go take care of the world. What makes you feel badass?
So I thought about this because I know you had prepped me with this question, Heather, and it may not be in the way that you may have heard from other people say, like this, saving the world makes me feel like a badass. That's not what makes me feel like a badass. What makes me feel like a badass is when I am true to my value system. And my value system meaning, like, number one is taking care of myself, obviously, because if I don't take care of myself first, I'm not able to take care of others. Number two, staying true to my purpose and my mission, which is serving others and being very warm and having the competence to help people. And number three, my family. So when all of those three values are in balance, and I still have an hour in my day for like something else, I feel truly like a badass. And when it makes me the most creative version of myself. It makes me the most authentic version of myself. So all of these symptoms from my 3 values that I fulfill every single day, I really try to, will result in goodness and positivity and energy, right? And I'm human. Like, some days are better than others. Sometimes I have more time for myself. Other days I spend more time with serving my patients. And some days I don't spend enough time with my family. And I really try every day to create balance with those values. And when I do, that's when I feel like my ultimate self, my true authentic self, and a badass.
It's beautiful.
Thanks.
Thank you for sharing that. That's beautiful. I love it. And I think this is just one of my favorite questions for guests on here, because as women, we go through so many different things in our lives, as working women, as moms, as, all the hats that we wear. And so the answer to that question is always different, but that's what makes it so wonderful, that we can learn from each other.
We have to learn from each other. We have to be okay with being imperfect.
Yeah.
Imperfection is beautiful.
I rock it.
And we have to be willing to learn from others.
Yeah.
And be humble in that way, to know that none of us have all the answers.
Agreed. I so appreciate your time today, and I can't wait to get my butt back into your office and and get loved on again. I will share everywhere people can find you and your website and contact information in the show notes. And thank you so much for your time and for making such an impact. I appreciate it.
You're so welcome. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast, Heather, and I look forward to seeing you soon.
Awesome. Until next time, everybody, stay badass, and we'll see you again.
See you later.